Our business today is to consider three items. The first I'll discuss is S619, the COVID-19 Origin Act of 2023. The bill would require the Director of National Intelligence to declassify and make public within 90 days information on the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. In recent weeks, both the Department of Energy and the FBI have publicly stated that they believe the most likely scenario for the origins of COVID-19 is a laboratory leak. As members know, the Wuhan Institute of Virology was involved in so-called gain-of-function research on coronaviruses in Wuhan, China, which is where the COVID-19 was first reported. It's neither a stretch of logic nor conspiracy theory to state that it's likely that the Department of Energy and the FBI's assessment is correct, and that a laboratory leak constitutes the most likely scenario behind the emergence of COVID-19. S619 will ensure that as much information as possible is declassified and made public to help the United States better prepare for future pandemics. The second bill we will consider is House Joint Resolution 27, a resolution of disapproval under the Congressional Review Act, providing for the disapproval of the recent Waters of the United States rule. In January, the Army Corps of Engineers and Environmental Protection Agency issued a new rule that defined the term Waters of the United States as it is found in the Clean Water Act. Unfortunately, this definition is far too broad and is overly inclusive. If it is allowed to remain in effect, it will amount to the federal government asserting the right to regulate geographic features like wetlands, ditches, and ephemeral or intermittent streams. This will create significant regulatory burdens for small businesses, manufacturers, farmers and ranchers, and local communities across the country. It will have a particularly damaging effect in rural districts like the one I represent, which is why I'm proud to have joined every member of the Oklahoma delegation in co-sponsoring this resolution. In passing H.J. Res. 27, we will be providing regulatory certainty for Americans, reducing compliance costs, and ensuring that our federal water regulations comply with congressional intent. Our final item is H.R. 140, the Protecting Speech from Government Interference Act. In recent years, we've seen repeated instances of high-powered government officials in the executive branch using their official authority or influence to pressure content platforms like Twitter to suppress an otherwise lawful speech. H.R. 140 would put an end to this practice and will ensure that no government official engages in tacit or explicit censorship or other suppression of lawful speech. The free speech is guaranteed under the First Amendment to the Constitution. In taking up H.R. 140, we're ensuring that the federal government will always adhere to that right and to ensure that freedom of speech remains a key principle governing our democracy. I now yield to my good friend, our ranking member, Mr. McGovern, for any remarks he wishes to make.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as you mentioned, today we'll consider three measures.